Hello, this is Pixel Freak, and today I'm taking a look at a game called Lemegeton. So this game is based on a grimoire, an old book from the 17th century that's about demonology. It covers these 72 demons, and that's what the subject matter of the game is. You play one of two different characters, at least in the Master Edition, which I'll get to the differences between the normal edition and the Master Edition soon. But you go through this campaign where you have to beat a number of these 72 different demons, and then a few of them actually help you out. But it's very much like a Metroidvania type of game where you have this kind of open map and you can only access certain areas, but you have to kind of backtrack and go forwards and backwards and gain new skills and new abilities, and you upgrade your character as you go. But the object of the game really is to beat all these different bosses, and there's quite a few of them. I've probably gone through maybe half the game so far, and I've beaten at least a dozen of these demons. I'm not sure exactly how many of the 72 it covers. I'm assuming it's going to cover all 72. Each one of them, though, is very impressive. There's a lot of work that has gone into designing this game. So let's go ahead and jump into the gameplay, and I'll explain how this game breaks down. So before you even start to play this game, there are two distinct versions of the game that are available on the Google Play Store. There's a free version just called Lemegeton. Then there's the Lemegeton Master Edition, which is a paid app. Now in the free version, there are in-app purchases, and there are some ads from what I'm to understand. You also have a little bit limited of content there, and there are some things that are locked. For instance, there's an additional character that's locked there, and episode 2 is either locked or not available, and there's two different episodes in the game. In the Master Edition, both characters are unlocked by default at the very beginning of the game, and you have episode 2 fully available to you to play, as well as a slew of other exclusive content. Also in the Master Edition, there are no ads and there are no in-app purchases, so if you'd like to play the game in its purest form, you have to go with the Master Edition. The catch is, the Master Edition is $10. Now from what I've played, the game might actually be worth that amount of money, but there's a lot of people out there that say, you know, I wish I could just pay for a game and then just play it as it was intended to be. This is your opportunity. It's $10, so put up or shut up. The gameplay closely follows something that you'd find from Metroid or Castlevania, or as they're widely known, Metroidvania games. The game's controlled with a touch button interface, but from my understanding, Moga controllers are also supported. Now the 6-axis controller, not supported, but I was able to quickly make an overlay for this game and it worked really well. Your 5 different touch hotkey buttons that you get can be assigned to all your different abilities or your weapons. You get 3 different types of weapons per character, and those weapons can be upgraded. You also get a slew of skills that you're able to upgrade as well, and those can be put, as I said earlier, on those hotkeys as well. You also get a jump button, and the jump button is used for various skills like down thrusts or sliding kicks that you accumulate as you defeat the different demons in the dungeon. The graphics, though the game takes place on a 2-dimensional plane, are 3-dimensional and fall somewhere in the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era. The really impressive thing I found with the graphics was there are different, unique little models for all of the different enemies and your 2 characters, but most impressively were the bosses, and some of them are actually very elaborate looking. I have read some reports that there are performance issues on this game. I didn't experience those. In fact, most of the time this game runs very, very smoothly. Sure, I saw a couple little blips here and there, but there were no crashes and there were no significant slowdowns for my entire experience, and I think that can be chalked up to just good programming. I think the developers of this game actually paid attention to how well the game performed, and for me at least, on a high-end device, this game ran flawlessly. One particular black eye for Lemegeton is the localization. Now, I'm not sure exactly what language it was coming from, but it didn't translate very well over to English. In fact, even though the game is somewhat dramatic and kind of action-y and supposed to be kind of mysterious, it actually comes off as kind of a comedy because the language is translated so poorly that it sounds very funny. And in fact, parts of it were so bad that I wasn't able to actually understand what they were trying to say. Hopefully they can find somebody that's willing to donate their time, or they can get a better English translator to get the English worked in a little bit better, and I think that'll help to set the tone a little bit better for their game. Luckily, so many other elements in the game are done so well that it's able to kind of hide the fact that the localization is so horrible. And I am going to use the word horrible because it's pretty bad. My other gripe, in addition to the localization, was that the first few boss fights are actually very repetitious in how you approach the enemy, and they're pretty easy boss fights, but I find that those first few bosses, that first, say, hour or so of an experience of a game, it's really important that you make your best impression on the player, because you want the player to be convinced that, hey, I'm having a good time. Later on in the game, once the player's already been convinced that they're having a good time, it's okay to have a little more repetition because the player's more willing to accept that. When I first started playing this game and I hit that repetition within those first couple bosses where I was just doing the exact same thing over and over again, it made me a little worried that for the whole game that was going to be the case and I was going to be just basically fighting the same boss 72 times. Luckily that's not the case. After about 5 bosses or so, they start to get a lot more varied and you have to strategize a lot more throughout the game. But I wish there was maybe a little bit more variation overall, and especially in those first few bosses, I wish there was a little bit more variation there particularly. The upgrade system in the game is based on a store that's unlocked at some point throughout the game, and you use coins that are earned in the game, but also your levels to upgrade your skills and equipment. For every level you get a certain number of points that you're able to invest in your skills, and skills are locked until you are a certain level, but the same thing applies to your weapons. You use coins to unlock or buy new levels of weapons, but the weapons are also locked by level, so you can't overpower yourself by having a whole bunch of coins. Now, I am led to believe that you can buy coins in the free version. I haven't actually played the free version, I've played the paid version, and in the paid version you get a decent amount of coins. There is some level of grinding that you're going to have to do in order to unlock higher and higher guns, but it seems pretty well balanced, and the weapons seem pretty balanced as well so that you won't overpower yourself and just kind of cruise through the game. Overall, it's actually a pretty good system and it's a pretty good gameplay mechanics. So overall, the question that gets asked now is this game worth $10? And I can't answer that. I don't like often to answer those types of questions because I don't know what $10 is worth to you. To me, this is probably worth $10. This is more the type of game that I would like to see on the Google Play Store, where you have a full-featured experience, albeit it's a little rough around the edges with the localization, and there are some kind of gameplay issues that could use a little bit of polishing, but that doesn't mean that it's not worth $10. To me, this game's probably worth $10, and if I was strictly a game player and not someone out there reviewing games, having to pick up new games every day, I'd probably want to buy this game and want to play this game. It's very similar to Castlevania, albeit it's kind of a Castlevania knockoff, but I feel based on how I buy games on consoles that this is probably worth $10 to me. Now the question is if it's worth $10 to you, and I would say don't run out and buy the $10 version, check out the free version first, and I'm not sure exactly how that one holds up. It might not pair up real super well with this review, but check out that free version. There'll be a link in the video description. Leave a comment here on how you feel about the game, because overall, I was pretty positive about this game. If you do like the game, go buy the $10 version. It's got a lot more goodies in it, and it's going to be a lot better of experience overall because all the purchases are there, and there's no in-app purchases, and there's no ads in the game. Lemegeton Master Edition weighs in at 84 pixels out of 100. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, this has been Pixel Freak.